Relic is directed by Natalie. It's written and directed by Natalie Erica James, and it stars Emily Mortimer, Robin Naveen, and Bella Heathcote. And it was actually it was produced by IFC Midnight, who are known for doing a lot of independent movies. And it was actually it's an Australian made production, and it went on and it was released in here in actually it was actually released through a streaming service through Australia's streaming service called Stan, and it got a release here in the states as well. So, and in this film, it deals with a mother and her daughter who end up going to visit their grandmother's the girl's grandmother's home in the woods when they to find out that she hasn't been there in a while, according to what her neighbors have told, according to her neighbors. And essentially, when they get there, they find the home is pretty much empty, and they do a search out for her and everything, and they to no avail, they can't find her. Then it pretty much becomes, well, I don't really want to go into it without giving much spoilers, but essentially, let's just say that the grandmother comes back and things start to come out of the ordinary as what they seem to be. And
Yeah.
we'll leave it there because that's pretty much how it basically breaks it down.
Well, you left out the big thing that a lot of people saw in the trailers. The grandmother has dementia,
Yeah.
and that's what brings them back to care for her because she's starting to suffer severe dementia, and that's why they brought them there in the first place. And it's three generations. You know, you got the daughter, and then you got the granddaughter. So it's three. Basically, them three together of kind of building their relationship with them three, and it plays a big role towards the end of the movie very well. But this film surprisingly was actually produced not only by the Russo brothers, but Jake Gyllenhaal too. So that was a big surprise. While being a foreign film, because this is a full-on foreign film. It's not American-made whatsoever. This is straight up from Australia. So this is Justin and I's second one foreign film together.
I think after Cargo, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Cargo was also Australian made as well.
It was.
It just got released on Netflix, but yeah, it was Australian made.
Yeah, and I will say that how I found out with this film, like many films, like our last review, we're finding these movies out by movie groups we follow on Facebook. And it's so nice to see that, seeing people share their experiences with these new movies and telling people, hey, check this out. This is coming out. Because I don't see half of this shit. It's weird not seeing stuff anymore because the coronavirus has canceled majority of movies. So we're relying on these independently made films, which I'll tell you for once, I miss the theaters, but it's nice to see the little man getting attention. So this is a film that I was hearing quite the buzz for. And now, keep in mind, I have not seen The Babadook. And I hear that's not only a critically acclaimed film, but it's an audience acclaimed film. And to this day, I see people talk about that all the time as one of the greatest horror films, top 10, top 20. So eventually I'm going to watch it. And that's a good thing I brought this up because a lot of people handled this because The Babadook was also a Australian made film. And that got critical acclaim. A lot of people worked on this. So it's kind of like similarities as far as like that had metaphors, and this film plays up on metaphors and symbolism too. So those films are connected, not connected sequelly, but as spiritually connected.
Yeah, share themes.
So if you're into the type of films of like Babadook, Hereditary, this is going to be you. A24ish. If you're looking for a ghost movie and Jason Voorhees and all that shit, you're not going to like this movie because it's very settled. It's a lot of settled down on this, but it is creepy. It's unsettling as fuck. And like upon seeing the film, I will say that, wow, aside from A Color Out of Space, this has got to be my second favorite horror film of this year. Easily.
Yes, I can definitely agree. This movie it really surprised me in so many ways. And this movie, I saw no trailers of. I went completely blind. Only heard about it based off the title, and it kind of threw me because I haven't seen the movie. But there's a movie also in the '90s called The Relic, which was basically like an Alien kind of knockoff. But I heard that one's a lot of fun though. But yeah, I just got me really interested upon seeing this movie based on this whole like kind of well, I know we exaggerate a lot of this A24 type of feel of it, but in a good way. I like that it was, kind of going for this very settled, unsettled type of approach. And after upon seeing it, I will admit it was definitely quite a lot of it was very unsettling like I thought it'd be, and it was spectacular. And
Yeah.
so
And in my
so
pros, I gotta say that starting with the cast, I enjoyed. It's a small female cast, and the granddaughter, the daughter, the mom of the granddaughter, and then the grandmother who has dementia. Them three girls did amazing. Their performances were raw and authentic as hell, and I gotta really praise the grandmother. She was, oh my God, she was awesome. Creepy as fuck. And I'll tell you, she playing a woman with dementia, she did fucking good, man. She did really good. But then the unsettled feel that there's more at play other than dementia, man, she was like, she kind of reminded me a little bit of mixture of example, other good older women that are creepy as hell. The one from Legion,
mhm.
another one from It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Just she's on that level, but probably even higher than them both. So
Yeah,
here's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I can agree. She was not only very, all three performances were A plus. Like they were all fantastic, and I really got to give credit to the grandmother, especially how unsettled she is, and she's very unpredictable too because she'll be doing something just out of fucking nowhere, and it gives you like the kind of like squeal type of vibe where you're just like you're very in shock, but in a good way type of way that puts you in that kind of disturbing level, and it goes for shock but it does it in the way to where it's not like out of character or so to speak or out of place or anything.
Basically, overdrawn is what it is. It's
Yeah.
not overly doing it. It actually is very blended. It's blended very well. But yeah, she was really unsettling. The way she plays off with the dementia was I mean, I don't think I've seen a movie somebody playing with dementia that did so good. Just blew me away in the performance. One of the highest praise I like about this film is the symbolism, the metaphors, and everything is metaphorically and symbolized of dementia in this film. We get obviously the grandmother with the suffering from dementia. She has all the characteristics, forgetting stuff, ending up places she shouldn't be, burying stuff, losing stuff, walk around, and one of the other forms of dementia is aggression towards family. She had all these characteristics, but then there's the style of the movie, the direction of what they're doing. Everything is like a metaphor of rot, and that's basically what your brain does in under dementia. It rots away. There's parts where she's literally rotting, like literally. Now you don't literally rot with dementia,
Mm-hmm.
but the metaphor of decay, it's basically symbolizing dementia. The whole film is dementia, losing, oneself, and there's more deep meanings that I'm not going to go into and stuff I probably missed. But I like how it does that, and I like the parts like example. The grandmother buries the pictures of her family, indicating she forgets her family after that. So there's a symbolism where with dementia, you forget your family, you forget who they are. You don't know your daughter's name. You don't know you had a daughter. You don't know shit. So she buries her family portrait, and it's like symbolizes of her. Like the next scene, she doesn't even remember she has kids and grandkids, and she becomes evil. So I like the little symbolism shit they go throughout this film. It's done superb. I loved it.
Yeah, I do too, man. I thought it was very, it was creepy, but it was very, in a way, it handled it very kind of grounded, so to speak. It's just something you really get that kind of vibe, like, the just the posture she's doing, the kind of like little moments, like, not to spoil anything, but let's just say that there's a part where she's like doing something to her chest, so to speak. That really fucking disturbed the fuck out of me when I was watching it.
I like the subtlety blend with there's something more going on,
Mm-hmm.
and the dementia thing playing a higher toll over
Yeah.
that a little, because people with dementia can do shit to themselves and not realize it. That's part
Yeah.
of the. So everything, while they're trying to indicate there's something stronger there, something more evil, so it balances out so perfectly. They make sure the symbolizing over the dementia overshadows
Mhm.
it a little. I like that blend. It
And the
doesn't do your
symbol.
demon monster bullshit, even though there are some stuff that you will see that's demonic, that's unsettling, and it reminds you a little bit of fucking Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing too. We're going back to the symbolism. There's things that, well, if I recall, that's what the title is also kind of bringing into, because let's just say that the title comes from a family relic that's in the house that has basically what's to do. Well, it has to do with, um, in a way, kind of sparking the event, so to speak. I can't really describe it without going to spoilers, but let's say that's the reason why it kind of does this whole thing to
I,
also be a part of it.
now, I like some of the scenes that they had where they were showing where they were kind of giving a little bit backstory, like, back in the old times, where, because this house has been in the family since their great grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going too detail, this is how you do mystery and ambiguous, where you don't know too much in the good way. Uh, they show us a little dream sequences of that, and it shows that almost every family member has died from this disease. So it's almost like hereditary. Uh, uh, it's in their blood. It's in their, something is causing them to have dementia in this house, and all the family members get it, and it's killing them in gruesome ways. While there's something very demonic in this house that they never explain, which is good because they want you to focus a little bit too much on the dementia part.
Yeah.
That's what it's really more about. And then the disturbed shit just plays in, mixes very well. And
Right.
there is something bigger than, I'm not saying it's demon shows, oh, that's dementia. No, it really shows like some crazy shit. And in a way, I like that you can analyze it and say, does everybody technically have dementia? Because some of the early signs of dementia is hallucinations. Are they seeing it? And you can really dig this movie, and that's what I loved about it. You can
Well,
really anyway.
that's what another thing I appreciate too, is that the movie puts you in the kind of mindset where you can really think more. Especially, again, some I can't discuss. The ending really got me really got to thinking a lot. Like, okay, that's something that's going to leave me fucking question now. That I appreciate that on a good filmmaking level. I appreciate movies like this that tend to be on that kind of 824 level in a good way, so to speak. Especially movies like The Lighthouse, things like that. Movies that maybe make you think well and test your kind of like knowledge on stuff. It really puts you in that kind of environment, and you want to analyze it more, even though it's already a great movie altogether.
I will say that I did love how secluded out in the woods.
That too.
Gives you far away seclusion that just, like, you can't run anywhere. I like that atmosphere. I thought the camera work was done so well, like A24 films. In fact, there's a film that I know we're going to catch a lot of, shit for this. I'm sorry. I thought it was a decent movie. You can't deny it was shot this very good if you hated it. Gretel and Hansel. It had that really Gretel and Hansel look of the camera work and how the
Mm.
house looked and all that shit. Especially them like back sequences where like you see like fucking like that dude rotting, and it's just like, I don't want to go in too much detail as well, but it's just like the way that they use their camera shots and the atmosphere just reminded me of Gretel and
Yeah.
Hansel. Movie, you can't deny that it was shot really, really, really good. So
It.
I love that. It's got a creepy fucking score in this film.
Oh yeah.
unsettling score. And I do appreciate when it gets to some creepy scenes, they don't rely at all on jump scares in this film. I just see a jump scare in this movie. There's some fucking unsettling scenes where it just gets quiet, and then you can hear kind of like a grudge grunt, that weird that voice, and then you see something just moving in the darkness. That's how you do atmospheric horror films. That's how you do your scare.
I agree. Like that, I love the atmosphere they put you in, especially being secluded in the woods and stuff. And in a way, it's like a more kind of like a, well, I mean, I know I'm just saying on a similar level. It kind of reminds me of like how Hereditary was with that, which, it was a house in the woods and stuff, and kind of took a little bit of elements from like maybe The Lodge, because it kind of had like certain elements, the way they take as far as like symbolism and things like that. And it just, the way it really puts you in that kind of like level where we had to say this again, it's kind of like what we experience with movies that are like The Shining, where you're basically in one location and it's secluded. You could question that it also has to do with cabin fever or other stuff. Movies like The Lodge, things like that, where it kind of relates also to the pandemic that we're going through with, being at home and stuff. And this is, again, another film that you can watch at home that puts you in that kind of level.
On the dementia part, this really can touch home at people who know people and have loved ones with dementia. The way they displayed it, you could almost feel like the director knew what the person was doing. Like she knew what she was doing, because she might have a relative. Like the details, the attention to details of like the how dementia really works in real life was done so well. I was like, whoa, maybe, somebody has to know exactly how it really goes down with somebody with dementia. I don't know anybody yet who has had it. I know people who know people, and they even said this was spot the fuck on.
There's another film that I haven't seen, but I heard it's kind of on a similar level, so to speak, that handles, well, it has more to do with Alzheimer's than it does with like dementia itself. It's a movie called The Taking of Deborah Logan.
You just contradict yourself, because Alzheimer's is dementia.
Sorry, it deals with also on a similar level, so to speak, and it's a found footage movie called The Taking of Deborah Logan. And I hear that movie also tackled the issues pretty well in that one too. But I haven't
Alzheimer's, dementia is one big broad disease, and Alzheimer's is one.
Okay, I stand corrected. But anyway, yeah, I like the actual what they deal with in this film as far as dementia, though. It really worked, and I can't handle it enough. And movies like this, I'm glad to see that we take these type of indie type movies that put you in a very like great atmosphere, and movies that make you think, the type of horror movies that make you think, and the ones that are just overall movies like this. They're what I consider, to be forms of work, very great works of art, and it really works in that level.
Yeah, the work of art definitely explains how they handled this plot and everything, because I'm sure if I watch it again, I'll find something else, and that's why I like about this movie. One of the things I do say, one of my favorite things of this movie was the third act. Holy fucking shit, that was just batshit fucking insane. Don't want to spoil too much. Let's just say there was a film called You Should Have Left, where we discussed a scene which was supposed to be the majority of the movie. Remember how I said I wish the movie would focus completely on that? Well, they do this majority in the third act, and that satisfied what I asked for that movie. And it was lost within the house, and then they notice it was stretching, it's getting smaller, it's doing all this weird shit, and it actually fucks with you. They did it pretty good in that film, but what they did with this granddaughter, when she discovers that little area, and she gets lost within the house, and then notices it's coming together, and it's going in like weird diagonals. Like she'll look down a hallway, it'll be all the way down, looks again, it's all the way to her. The wall is. And like she walks into like this little area, and it's like it looks like a normal house, like you see in my room. But then like she walks closer towards, like I'm walking towards the camera, and the roof is like this. And then she breaks through a wall, and it's like the house is upside down. So it's
Yeah.
my, and there's an actual kind of a metaphor on that, basically talking about what the brain goes with dementia. And it's like the brain is so confused, it's thrown all over the place. The person doesn't know what they're doing, and that's what it indicates. And and
It's like a
this is me
scramble.
interpreting God. Apparently, you can interpret this film 5 different ways. This is my interpretation, and I think that's an awesome fucking metaphor. Kind of symbolism, symbolic. Talking, really digging down into this disease, and that's what it pretty much does throughout this fucking film. But then that last scene happened. I'm not going to spoil that, but holy fucking shit. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm grinning because I'm about to make a fucking joke. I saved it for last because I didn't want to start laughing throughout this review. But the way that grandmother looked, and let me get this out of the way real quick. I like that symbolism with the whole, like, where you can also see that she's not also evil, even though she's trying to kill him. She looked like she was doing all the spider shit, crawling over the fucking thing, all like cut up and stuff, and then it goes insane at the end. Just watch it. But getting my funny thing, I swear by the looks of how she looked at that end, I thought she was gonna turn around to her to the mother and say, want a cigarette? Try to quit. Just like that, didn't she?
Yeah.
I've seen this movie. I'm not gonna spoil it, but that's what she looked like. I started laughing. I shouldn't have not been laughing because it was good, but she looked exactly like that motherfucker from that movie. And I'm not gonna say because people already know what I'm talking about, and then they're like, okay, I know what she looks like at the end. But I thought she was gonna turn around and say that. And that, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's why I waited till the end to talk about that. I started looking, I just like, oh my god, I can't forget that. I can't ignore that. But anyways, get back to the movie. It ends very unsettling, disturbed, and really just unease Phil. And I was just in shock. I was like, wow, holy fuck. I highly recommend this movie, guys. I do watch it. I want this movie to be recognized by a lot of people. I want more people to see this. A lot of people, it just depends on your taste. If I had any cons, I will say that it is a bit slow, so expect that, and that's what it's trying to do. It's basically like if you've seen any A24 films, it's very slow pace. It can get to you, and maybe give us a little bit more details on the more demonist of the house, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, but
what kind of relic, what kind of thing is attached to this house? But other than that, I don't have any other cons at all.
yeah, I'm the same way. Like you were saying earlier, with going back to the cam work, like the whole way it kind of makes into the symbolism with the being like kind of the brain scattered around and stuff, like a scramble board, like a scramble game, like or whatever. It really does that well on a filmmaking level, and it really like it's definitely something that I can look at and watch and be unsettled with, but in a good way. And the like you were saying, the ending. The real ending, the ending got it to me to where I was disturbed, but also unsettled from how they handled it. And it made me really like when I was like, okay, I've got like 1,000 things I could probably come up with as to what that's supposed to interpret. And, it puts you in that kind of level.
There's another thing that I will say that I forgot to mention. I already went through my cons. It was pretty short. There is one thing I did leave out. This film was kind of not like overly gruesome like Evil Dead, but when shit does happen, like tearing off skin and shit like that, really fucking bothered me.
Yeah, it was really into that point where skin was like peeling off. I was like, ugh, that's hard to watch. But like in that kind of level, like in a good way.
Yeah. What's your cons? I already mentioned mine.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I wasn't necessarily like the pacing didn't really bother me too much because I kind of knew that's what the intention that they were going for. And this type of movie, you do want to kind of build in with lure and suspense and atmosphere and stuff, and it did it well. My only little thing I would say was that yeah, we could establish more of like maybe give us a little bit of kind of where the actual entity comes from or something. Maybe you could have done more of that. But other than that, though, I mean, literally, this movie was just so captivating that I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was just so I was so enthralled.
Yeah. So that being said, I like I said, I recommend it. I hope more people give it a watch. And that being said, I'm going to give this film a low phenomenal grade on a Film Freaks meter.
I'm the same way. I'm gonna go it if a I'm gonna go with a low phenomenal grade on the Film Freaks meter as well. So, for those of you who have also seen Relic, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it, and stay safe. And we'll see you in our next review. We'll see you later.